Yeah? Yeah? Come on. Come on, baby girl. Come here, Taya. Not you. I know you can climb the stairs. Good job. Good job. Good job, baby girl. Yo.
That was random.
You were happy 2 seconds ago. What's the matter?
She doesn't want to be in the video, Dad.
I'm sorry. You okay now? And take 2.
Hi.
So, let us tell you a little bit about what happened on the 4th of July. We went out to Riverbend, which is actually, I'm driving there right now for chapel for Sunday morning. We went out to Riverbend. They had an alumni retreat type thing where they invite all the former staffers to come out and enjoy some time, getting to know each other, visiting again, with people you haven't seen in a while, and hearing stories from times before and after you worked there, and it was a good fun. I found myself in the middle of the pack in terms of how long ago I worked here. I thought I would be one of the older ones in terms of how long ago I worked here, but there were people that worked here like the year after I was born, long time ago, and 29 years ago. It was amazing. And so it was cool to talk to them about how the camp's changed, and it wasn't even called Riverbend back then and all the rest of it. Well, it was a blast. We had a really good time visiting with them and learning stories and how things have changed and all that kind of stuff. And so we did a bunch of stuff. We played in the pool, we played on the waterfront. I was sore, because that's what you do.
That's not what everybody does.
Well, that's what I do. But when the funniest part, and the reason that there is a picture of me and some friends on a toilet on Facebook, if you've seen it, I'll post it here. There you go. So the reason that there's this toilet picture is because when they had like a registration, and then they had a little game that they were playing, and it was like deal or no deal.
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. Thank you. It was like, let's make a deal. So the guy who was running it was the executive director, and he'd pick somebody, and then he'd say, all right, pick a package. And then he had you tell a story about Riverbend, a funny or embarrassing story from your time at Riverbend, right? And then he'd say, all right, now you can keep that package, or you can take the envelope in my back pocket, or whatever. And so we heard a bunch of cool stories. And now I've got a lot of stories, and a lot of them that a lot of people have heard before, but there was a bunch of people here that I've never talked to before. So I figured I was in good shape. I said, all right, I've got one. And I told the story of, some of y'all might not have heard this before, so here's the way it worked. 10 years ago, in 2009, they were changing out some of the commodes in one of the cabins. And they hauled most of the old ones off, but baby girl's not having it. Is she hungry?
No. She just threw her toy, and I can't reach it.
They hauled off most of the commodes, but they did leave one out on the curb next to the cabin overnight. So I feel like they were asking for something to be done with that.
I don't think that that's true.
I think that's true. On camp, if you leave just a toilet out, something's happening to it. It might get TP'd, which is somewhat ironic, but something's happening to that. We didn't TP it. Here's what we did. Me and a group of friends were like, hey, let's get up early. As in, for me, I was a morning cook, so right before I had to go to work anyway. And let's get that, and let's take it out to the floating dock. Now, at the waterfront, so that's what we did. We got up early, like at 4 in the morning, and we went out and we got the toilet, and we put it on a canoe. And in the waterfront, which is basically our lakefront area, it's not a lake, it's like a tank or a large pond. And we canoed it out to a little floating dock out there where the lifeguards sit. There's a little lifeguard stand there. And we canoed it out there, and we stuck the toilet out on the floating dock, and then we canoed back, and that was that, right? We didn't say a word to anybody. Well, the lifeguards get out there that morning, and they think this is hilarious. And there is this kind of famous picture. If I can find it, I'll post it right now.
Want you not be able to find it? And
I know.
Just leave that in there awkwardly.
No, it's there. I hope. Anyway, there's this kind of famous picture of one of the lifeguards that summer sitting on the toilet with the lid up, sitting on the toilet with his lifeguard buoy, looking like he's just, using the water closet, like he's just sitting on it like it's nobody's business. So it's hilarious. And they just thought it was the best thing, and like, oh my gosh, we got to leave this here, the toilet, blah, blah, blah. Well, the waterfront director was not working that day, and nobody told him there was a toilet on the waterfront. So he gets out there the next day, looks out there, takes his his shirt off and throws his gear in the shed or whatever, jumps out into the waterfront, swims out to the floating dock, gets up on the floating dock, looks at it, and kicks it off the side of the floating dock. And to the best of my knowledge, it's still there. Now, this is the story I told so that I could play Let's Make a Deal.
Nobody's been able to find it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep the waterfront is.
I think it's about 40, 45 feet deep there.
Nobody's been able to find it.
Nobody's been able to find it. As far as I can get from anybody, it's still there. Nobody's hauled it out yet. There have been scuba divers that have gone down there, but it's like super murky, so. But as far as I know, it's still down there. Anyway, I tell this story. Everybody thinks it's funny, especially because a lot of them knew the waterfront director who was there at the time, and it was very in keeping with his character. And wow, there's a toilet still at the bottom of the waterfront. That's amazing. Now everybody wants to try and find it. I tell this story, right? And then Brad goes, okay, you can keep the package that you picked, or you can take what's under that box over there. And so I'm looking, and it was a big box, and I was thinking, it's probably a person. Like, this is probably one of those crank gifts, one of the just pranky kind of funny gifts that you get on Let's Make a Deal from time to time.
I think they call them zonks or whatever.
Zonks. I was thinking, this is a zonk. This is a zonk. But it had a really big box, and I kind of wanted the box. And so I said, if I pick that prize, do I get to keep the box? And he said, sure. And I went over there and opened it, and would you believe that underneath there was a freaking toilet?
So, of course, they had to get a picture with the toilet.
Yes. I can't believe it. I told the story about the toilet, and then there was a toilet underneath the box, and that's what I picked. Oh, gosh, it was funny. Oh, my gosh. The room erupts in laughter. I'm screaming and yelling like, oh, my gosh, it was a toilet. Ah! Just laughing it up. Oh, my gosh, it was funny. Guys, it was so funny. Well, anyway, and that was the story of why the toilet was in the pictures, because everybody's like, oh, we need to get a picture with it. And there's this other picture right here. When we were working out there, all of us were single, unmarried, no kids, and this was just a small sample of some of the kids that some of these people have, like my wife and us included. I didn't realize how many of them there were now until they all sat there like, hey, let's get a picture. Like, 5 or 6 moms come over with their babies and they're like, hey, let's get a picture.
Well, we were still missing one.
Yeah.
One for sure. Well, I mean, like, that was on camp that day.
Mm-hmm.
One for sure. But I think there may have been another one. But
there was dozens others that just weren't on camp that day. And so, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is time passing. We have kids now. We're married and we have kids now. Anyway, it was a blast. The 4th of July was such a blast. So this is how we teach infants to drive. First, they have to know how to man the guns. In this case, a Nerf gun, a heavily modified Nerf gun, but a Nerf gun nonetheless. And then I drive. So this way, she'll know how to ride shotgun, because shotgun's much easier than riding pistol in your dad's lap. And then I think I'm gonna coin that pistol in your dad's lap. It's kind of cute. I don't know. Play with this, honey, not the steering wheel. And then she'll learn how to drive. Yeah, isn't this cute? Listen, we're not being dangerous. We're going like 7 miles an hour, and we're just going from the chapel to the office. I'm not getting on the highway. There's
literally not even leaving camp.
There's nobody else on the road. Like, it's just us, okay? So if you are like pitching, no, let's not play with that. If you're pitching a fit because, Infant in the unsecured bubble. Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah, secured bubble.
Put a helmet on. You need a helmet. Go get one.